think that I can say that it's bad.
Okay.
Because I don't entirely understand what's going on. And just because I don't understand something doesn't make it bad, you know?
Right, yeah.
I try to keep an open mind. So I won't say that it's bad, but it's definitely pretentious.
Hello, world. How are ya? Well, sorry to make you deal with that awful accent. I just wanted to have a quick intro here. Today's episode of Talk 30 to Me, which has been a little while since I've been able to upload one of these, is Justin Stovall. He's the president of ETV. He's a very interesting guy, a very chill guy. He's got a very calm air and mood about him, very tranquil. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation. But first, I wanted to say a quick thank you and a sincere thank you to anybody who made this show possible. It was an idea I've had for a long time, and the fact that I've been able now to put so many of these out to anybody who listens, just thank you to if you're a guest, or if you listened, or if you helped me edit, like my girlfriend Heather. If you just gave me an idea and I ran with it, thank you so much. It was a great way to end the school year, and I cannot wait to get back to recording and uploading more things for you this summer. Now, Justin Stovall. So here we are on a Saturday, beautiful Saturday morning actually, St. Patrick's Day, here on Eastern's campus. I've got my friend Justin Stovall with me. Introduce yourself, please.
All right, how you doing, Hondo? My name is Justin Stovall. I'm a senior at Eastern Michigan University, president of the ETV Club, and producer, writer, and director of 2 shows for that club.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
So just so you guys know, I bump elbows with some pretty famous people.
Oh yeah. Cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop. Yeah, only the best for nothing to see here. I just want to ask you, have you ever been on a radio show or a podcast or anything like that?
One of my friends who was a part of ETV before I was involved with it, he graduated from here a couple years ago. He had a podcast. I don't think any of the episodes I was on ever aired, but
well, that streak ends tonight.
All right, there we go.
Okay, so we got your title out of the way. We got your credentials right up front. I just want to know when did you become president?
I became president last January 2017, because the president before me was like, "I'm too busy."
Who was the president?
Heather Irvin.
Oh yeah, I know Heather. Yeah,
and she was like, "Take it."
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Okay, will do. Right.
If you say so.
So it wasn't like an election type thing or anything?
Oh, no. It was just a
passing of the guard.
Yeah, it's more of a monarchy than a democracy at ETV. And that sets us apart from the other student orgs.
Well, that's interesting in itself. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and if there's, because we do so much, and whenever we have meetings, it really comes down to one person just needs to make an executive decision.
Right.
And so if we were to have elections, it'd get out of hand. And so I think it's smarter if we just are like, I've seen what you can do. You're able to take this over when I'm gone. So here you go.
Right. So are you graduating by the end of this, or do you know?
Nope, I'll be done by December.
So next winter? Okay. Wait, is that next winter?
No,
next
fall.
Yeah, next fall.
And I'll be out of here, and then I think I don't know who I'll choose next.
We don't got to make any announcements here. We don't got to break any news.
We'll keep that. Keep that secret. Build up the suspense.
Yeah. I got to give him a reason to listen to the next podcast. God. Yeah. The next president. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when did you join ETV?
I joined ETV a year before I became the president. So that was January 2016.
Wow, you were only in for a year before you became president.
Yeah. Well, I did a lot in that short amount of time. One of my friends was producing a segment that became a show, and then he ended up giving me that show.
Who's the friend and what's the show?
Tyler Wagson. It was called Who's Who at EMU, and that became Still on the Air, which is the show that I currently produce that
the
drops
talk show.
Weekly.
Yeah, with Dave.
David Pierce Anderson, Jackson Touchberry.
Yep. Both See Your Pod alums.
There we go.
Yeah. We run a tight circle.
And you were actually a guest.
Yes, I
was Still on the Air.
Both
multiple times.
Yeah. I would say the in a weird way, the first episode of this podcast happened during the Oscar predictions, because that was something I wanted to do for, like, as a teaser. And I hope anybody who watched the show listened to the pod, and listened to the pod watched the show.
Go back and watch the show if you didn't. Just go ahead and watch it again.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
What was the other one I was on? I can't even remember.
You
now.
did 2 more. We had you on for Halloween.
Oh, that's right.
And you guys just talked for 20 minutes.
That was basically the show, yeah.
And then we had you at the end of the semester show where you sang a duet with David Pierce Anderson.
I might
go back and watch that one if you have.
You should. Yes, I'm getting flashbacks. Just thinking about softly serenading a camera with Dave playing piano. So I wore a coat in that episode to have something to hook the mic up to. And I was watching it with my girlfriend Heather, and she was like, "Why are you wearing a scarf?" And I was like, "I don't know. They just like handed me a scarf, and I put it on to be weird." And then she was like, "Well, why didn't you just clip the mic to the scarf instead of wearing?" Because I'm wearing this ridiculous coat the whole time, and everyone's like in normal clothes. And I was like, "Well, way to make me feel dumb afterwards."
We were quick, and that was also Jordan Causey's last ETV
appearance. Yeah, it was rough to lose him for both. Just being a friend, and with Lame.
It was great. We just had our 1-year Facebook friend anniversary.
Shouts out to Jordan.
Jordan is the best.
He made the music for my my Office podcast.
Yeah,
he remixed. So again, shouts out to Jordan. I don't want. We could have a whole podcast talking about how good Jordan. So why ETV? Why did it take so long, and why ETV?
I think that ETV is the greatest club that you can be in if you're in broadcasting or film, whatever, because the skills that you pick up working on any of the shows that we've had or currently have, it's invaluable. Like you learn so much. Before I joined ETV, I could switch between cameras and monitors and different things like that.
My bad.
But now I know how to do green screen on there. Now I know how to switch between different keying things and using graphics. And it's
so. How do you learn them though? Like, does Keith teach you, or is it just
you go in
baptism
there
by fire
and you pray that somebody can tell you how to do what you need to do, and if they can't, you try to look it up online.
Right.
You try to just play with it yourself.
See, I think that points to something I've noticed with all ETV. I don't even know what to call, like, anybody in the group or somehow involved with it, on the fringe of the group, is that it's very self-motivated.
Oh yeah,
it's self-driven.
If you don't want to be there, you're not gonna show up.
Right.
And that's why our numbers have dropped some. But honestly, I would rather work with the few that we have than to have twice that number and half of them don't want to be there.
That's a good point, right? You'd rather have motivated people. Yeah, I mean, like, you want a core group of good people.
Dave used to produce shows of E-Weekly with 4 or 5 people as his crew members. Usually we need about 8 people.
Wow.
So there's good people in the group, and that's
what matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. See, self-motivated, self-driven. It also, I think about, like, how you have 2 shows right now.
Yep.
Is there a mandate from, like, ETV that we have to have this many shows, or do faculty or the school say you have to have anything, or is it all just what you guys decide?
Keith Damron, our advisor, probably, for him, there's one show that he's like, this is happening.
Yeah.
So if we at least have that one show, E-Weekly, which is the show Dave produces, he's fine. But honestly, it's just up to us in terms of how many shows we actually want to have. Because if we've got people who want to produce every day of the week, we'll be in there every day of the week.
Right.
If we're down to just 2 shows like we are this semester, we're down to just 2 shows. The last semester, we had 3 shows.
Sideliners, right?
Sideliners was on. but we lost Michael Kermy. So
Yeah.
But
That's what happens.
yeah,
It's the nature. I think it reminds me of, it's as close to what the business is like, the industry of, broadcast television. It replicates that as well as any group on campus. It comes very close because, not that, I'm some master expert on it, but just working for ESPN and then you come in and you see like the level that ETV is trying to produce at and be just like the real world it's there.
Honestly, the only thing holding us back is our equipment.
Right.
Equipment and time. Yeah. Equipment and time. If ETV was all I was dedicated on, our shows would look insane because, all our attention is so divided amongst school, work, family, and we've got all these responsibilities. But if we were all just streamlined into one thing, ETV, we produce the quality of our content would skyrocket.
I really think both shows I think are very good for what they are.
Yeah, no, the amount of effort that we put into these shows really pays off. We're there every week, and most of us are in the studio every day of the week. Yeah, Monday through Friday. For the most part, I think Dave's in there a little bit more than the rest of us. But
I think Dave lives in there.
Yeah, he probably has a bed. Yeah. But we're in there all the time. We're putting work into making sure that our skills improve and that we can do our best for the shows.
Do you want this to be your career then?
Film and TV. Okay. This is a little more TV focused, and that's why we've got a different project we're working on that's a little more close to film. Yeah. Just for me. But this is what I want to do. I want to write, I want to direct, I want to produce. This is the way I want to go. I
mean, you're creating your own lane. And
absolutely.
And that's something that the reason I started the podcast was like, sometimes you just got to go out there and do what you want to do.
Do it yourself because they're not giving jobs out anymore. No. The industry has evolved so much that it's like, show us what you can do. Do you have something that you've done? And then you've got to whip out a portfolio and be like, here it is. Right. Take your pick. And that's what I'm glad ETV can provide.
For not just you, though, for the group.
For the group.
Anybody who wants to go in there and say, I made something good.
That's why whenever I'm trying to get new students to join, I always say, you're putting your name on something. This is something that you can use. This is something that you can show people and say, I helped make this. Right. And there's not a better feeling than seeing those credits scroll and your name pops up.
Yeah. Well, you're specifically like 7 times. Okay, so have you gotten any opportunities like in the field because ETV or like any ETV alum? Have they ever reached out to you guys or?
Yeah, I'll be working on a short film this summer with again Cameron Combs.
No, yeah, nice. Another See Here Pod alum, yeah. Just so you know, just saying.
There you go. And so that's an opportunity that I wouldn't have had if I didn't have ETV to show off my skills, and. There's opportunities within our group where we say, all right, these people showed excellence in the club. We're forming a production company outside of that. Would you like to join? And Tyler Wagson, he's currently doing a lot of that kind of stuff. Right. So
what shows have you been a part of? I know you're involved with E-Weekly and Still in the Air right now.
Right now, I'm involved with those two. But in the past, like I said, I was a part of Who's Who at EMU. I helped out with Eagle Sports Insiders. I helped out with the Sideliners.
Is Eagle Sports Insiders like the predecessor to Sideliners?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think those were the only 3 that aren't around now. Okay. I think those are. So I've been a part of 5 different shows
in just 2 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that alone is impressive. And I think that, again, showcases the fact that people want to make stuff. They just want to make stuff.
It's fun to get in there and knock something out in 30 minutes.
It's fun, but is it stressful?
It can be, and when you don't have anybody helping you out, it gets stressful. But for the most part, everybody there is willing to help, and I know that there are people that I can call on and say, "Hey, I'm gonna need a little extra help with this. Can you do this for me?"
Right? Can you call in like a freelancer kind of thing? Can you be like, "Look, you're not a part of ETV. You're not even a student, but could you run, or is that not? Is that like against the
Keith
rules?"
Prefers that we use people that have been trained
Yeah.
through our 131, 132 classes. And so if we were to say, like Tyler, when he graduated, he actually came back and helped us with a couple episodes.
Yeah.
So we can get alumni if they're around to come and help us.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's just us.
Right. Hey, I mean, seems like it's worked so far, though. I don't think
It
it's...
is,
Yeah.
and that's a testament to the level of skill that we got, because it is just us.
So what outside field productions have you been a part of? Like, two questions, actually. So if you joined ETV 2 years ago now, were you not really involved in any sort of extracurricular, like, media, endeavors?
No, not really. It was really just classwork that I was doing, and I did have fun with that, and that was an experience to itself. I've got a lot of work from my classes that I can throw into a demo reel, but without ETV, I would not have the catalog that I now have. I think we're well over 30 shows that my name is on. Well, way more than 30 if we include just the ones that my name are on, but the ones that I've produced,
Right.
I think we're over 30 by this point. And
so, I mean, like,
outside work,
like outside, not even short films either. I mean, like, have you ever...
Yeah. I've helped, we did a short film for the 48-hour film festival, and that was an experience.
Is it the most recent 48?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No links to that.
So yeah, we can breeze past it.
Yeah, we'll just skip that. But a lot of my outside work is in writing.
Right.
And none of it's been made. But I write a lot, and I think my angle is writing.
What are you most interested in writing about? Genre wise.
Probably like I love mobster gangster films, detective films, action, any like the down to earth action stuff, because I love the comics and action movies, Mission Impossible, all that stuff. I love it. Yeah. But I feel like writing about personal struggles with good and evil is really much more interesting to me to write about than just superheroes. And that is superheroes and all that stuff. I would definitely love
trust me,
to do
we'll get to that. Don't worry.
But I really would. But there's something about being down to earth and gritty and reality that really carries a weight to it.
So what, like, genre wise, does it seem like drama? Do you think like maybe
less drama, more like not action oriented, but there's more action.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Than it is just drama. Yeah. It's not just a mobster movie where everybody's searching for the truth, their feelings. If it's a mobster movie, people are getting shot up. People are getting roughed up. Because that's just action is. I love action. Who doesn't? Right. But there is that focus on the characters.
What genre do you think least interests you?
Romance.
Romance? Okay.
Off the bat.
You wouldn't do a rom-com?
No, I would not do a rom-com. No, not at all. Because I think that our generation has come to a point where romance is different to us. The rom-coms of old don't really work for us anymore.
Like an example, what do you mean? 'Cause I'm not the biggest rom-com fan.
Me either.
In general, to know, you know.
But you look at some of the stuff, like, I don't know why, but off the bat, Four Christmases, Vince Vaughn, Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, I've seen that movie, yeah.
There are some funny parts into it.
Yeah.
I don't hate the movie, but, you know, you look at that and you're just like, well, there are parts of it that you just look at and you say, this is stupid.
Right.
Because our relationships that we have now, there's something different there now. Whether it's just our meme culture, whether it's our internet culture, there's something that's changed how we look at romance. And I feel like rom-coms aren't evolving.
Can't capture it.
And
you ever seen a movie? So I don't, like I said, don't watch many rom-coms, but 500 Days of Summer?
saw it.
That's a good one. If you would consider that a rom-com, that is probably the best and it still doesn't touch on internet culture or anything like that, but it seems to have evolved.
But
somewhat.
I think that's less of a rom-com and more of a drama, because the romance isn't really focused on it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's idea of the romance.
Right. Yeah.
And the comedy doesn't really come from the relationship. The comedy comes from his reaction to not having a relationship. It's more of an anti-rom-com.
Okay.
And stuff like that definitely works. Our generation loves,
and that's exactly
altering the form.
I would say that's why it's evolved.
Yeah.
Because what it is, it subverted what a rom-com was supposed to be. It took, like, here's what you think this movie is going to end up like, and it's going to zig every time you think it's going to zig.
They literally put it side by side and was like, here's what usually happens, but here's what's really going to happen.
And that's why I think, like you said, I agree. I don't think it is a rom-com, quote unquote. But if it is in 20 years when we look back and we categorize it as a rom-com, it's because it was the next step for those kinds of movies. And nothing's come close to that.
But nothing's captured it since, and that movie's what?
8 years, 7
8
years old?
years old?
Yeah.
So I don't think the rom-com genre is evolving. I think that was a one in a million, you know.
Just those guys who are really
genius idea.
Yeah. What about a horror movie or a fantasy?
I would love to do a horror movie. But I would do more of a thriller where it wouldn't be supernatural. It wouldn't be it'd be a guy with a knife or a sword or whatever going after people. And I have this idea for one horror movie. I'm not going to give it all away, but there's a guy and he becomes inspired to go out and, you know, commit his murders due to what he believes as divine intervention. Right. And he believes that he's doing the work of the Lord. And I feel like stuff like that gets into character psyches is much more interesting than
terrifying.
Saw, you know. And so I would really, really love to do a
Did you use
horror
Saw
movie.
As a good example or a bad example?
Bad.
A bad example. Oh, so first Saw even?
Saw is not a horror movie. Saw is torture porn.
Okay. The first one is a little
First one I'll give you is genuinely terrifying.
Yes.
But I mean, once we've seen it, then we've seen it, and it's outplayed. And while if you have fun with those, I totally understand why. Right. They're fun, dumb movies. You can have a good time with that stuff. But I don't say that they're straight up horror. The kind of horror that I'm interested in is the stuff that plays with the psyche, the stuff that'll make you go like, oh crap.
Have you ever seen The Strangers?
Yes.
The first Strangers is good. The newest one was
ridiculous. I didn't see the new one. And I'm not really a big horror guy. Right. If you get me a good psychological thriller, I'm there for it.
My favorite psychological thriller is Seven.
Oh my God.
That to me, that's like my peak. That's it. That's as good as it gets for me.
That's absolutely insane. Yeah. And looking back, I'd like to look at how the older horror movies did it. You know, Mummy, Frankenstein.
I watched Eraserhead the other day.
I hate that movie.
It's a hard movie to watch, man.
I absolutely hate that movie with a passion. I had to watch it for film theory.
Did you have Overpeck's film theory?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I visited a class to watch it. So did you hate it because it's bad, or did you hate it because it was pretentious?
I don't think that I can say that it's bad.
Okay.
Because I don't entirely understand what's going on. And just because I don't understand something doesn't make it bad, you know?
Right, yeah.
I try to keep an open mind. So I won't say that it's bad, but it's definitely pretentious. There are things that are done just for the sake of being artsy. Yeah. And then there's just stuff in it that's just like, why is this in a movie? And why did I have to watch it?
Disturbing.
Yeah.
There's some scenes in that movie that are genuinely unnerving, man.
Yeah, I was like, no, turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
So I think I disagree with you. I like that movie. And I like David Lynch because there's a lot of that stuff in that points to what he become. This is more mainstream stuff, I should say. Like Twin Peaks, I love. Yeah. You know.
I don't know. There's just something there that I was just like, Like, I can't even say that I'm glad I saw it because it was just,
Well, I'm glad you saw it because I got to hear you hate on it for a minute. That's nice. Okay, so now I want to transition into what I wanted to reserve for the later portion of the interview.
Oh, yeah.
Your love for comic books.
Oh, I love them.
When did that start?
Day one.
Day one, out of the womb.
I got an early start on superheroes from the cartoons that used to come on. X-Men, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, Batman, Superman, Justice League, all of them. I saw them all, you know, and so I was into the characters from the get. And then I got a little bit older. I think I was around six or seven, maybe 8 when I got my first comic books. And then from then on, I've just been into them. And I didn't really become a hardcore collector until 2012 when they did Avengers vs. X-Men. And then I collected all 12 issues of that. And then I was like, okay, you got me. And I have too many now. Yeah.
For the listener, the first thing I saw when I walked in was, is that a protein shake?
This is just like I don't do the protein mixes, but it's like a fruit smoothie.
Okay, fruit smoothie. Yeah. So I walk in and you've got a smoothie and a Green Arrow issue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, man, that's legit. Okay, that's Justin.
This is my life.
Yeah, smoothies and comics.
Smoothies and comic books. So make a movie. And I love this stuff. I love reading material. I love going back to the 40s from the beginning all the way to the present. There's something in each decade, something in each age of comic books that is good, that's fun.
Well, I believe there was a point where comic books as a market kind of crashed. I think it was in the 50s.
There's a couple of points.
Was it 10 penny?
You had the 50s, which was after the war. Everybody was like, okay, this was great propaganda, but we're over it now. Right. And because a lot of soldiers, comics, a lot of people, associate comics with kids or being childish. Adults read comics back in the day. Yeah. You would send care packages to soldiers, and comic books would almost always be in those care packages.
I didn't know that.
Everybody loved comic books. Then you get to the 50s, the war's over, propaganda's over. So they die down some. Then you hit the 60s, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko come out with Spider-Man, X-Men, Iron Man, Fantastic Four, the Avengers, everybody. They bring them into the 60s, into the Marvel age. And then DC reboots with The Flash in 56 and starts the Silver Age of comics. And comics pick back up again, but now they're more geared towards kids. But as they go on, as the Silver Age goes on, it's like, all right, these are silly. We need to do something else. We need to spice this up. You hit Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then I think you get into the Bronze Age.
I think I should be taking notes right now. I'm pretty sure that this is something I should be writing down because this is good information.
And then that's towards the back end, the middle to back end of the 80s. But then once we hit the 90s.
Frank Miller, was he 80s or 90s?
Frank Miller is 80s.
Okay.
That man just, But you hit the 90s and people are like, why aren't my comics worth tons of money? Because a lot of people had collected because the Superman comics and Batman comics from the 40s were priceless back then. Now they're even more so, but back then they were like selling in the 70s they were selling for high prices.
Right.
So people were like, all right, well, I'll buy a comic and then
Wait
it'll be
30
worth
years.
something.
Yeah.
But since more people were buying, they were printing more comics, so they weren't worth as much.
Yeah.
And so once we hit the 90s and people were like, oh, these aren't worth as much, there was a detrimental drop in sales. And that almost killed Marvel.
Really?
Marvel Comics. That's why all the properties were sold off to the different movie studios, because they were almost
They had to stay afloat.
dead. And they were like, look, we'll sell these guys and
That's
we'll try
insane.
to stay alive. And so that was the other dip. And since the early 2000s, I think there's been a climb due to the superhero movies.
So for sure, you touched on a lot, but like seriously, almost 60 years, right? Like maybe more. When you think about why they sold the movie rights, they kind of created the same thing. So there was a limited quantity of like Superman, original print Superman comics from the 40s. And then when people were like, oh, that's worth money. So in the 70s they bought or 90s rather, they bought, or 70s bought a bunch, 90s it crashed. They sold off their movie properties, right? So like X-Men went to Fox Studios, Sony got Spider-Man, and then I don't actually know where the other ones went. Did they all go to? They didn't all go to Disney.
Well, they only sold off their big ones.
Yeah,
they sold off the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Punisher, Ghost Rider, and so
it's a shame that only 2 of those had good movies early on.
Really. I think Blade got sold off as well.
Oh, Blade is awesome. Three. I like Blade. I love Blade. Yeah,
Blade is great. And so everybody else, what a lot of people don't know, the Avengers was not the big team in Marvel. X-Men was their team. Fantastic Four, X-Men and Fantastic Four was like, yes, these are the teams. These are great. The Avengers were kind of B or C list.
Wow.
In terms of the team ranking until the movies came out. But
it totally threw the paradigm off.
And so that's why Iron Man was such a huge risk.
Yeah.
Because that's when Marvel was like, we want to get into the movie business, but all our rights that we have left are these characters that only the fans know. You know, the majority of the movie-going audience isn't going to recognize Iron Man, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's a risk for that. It's also a risk because they hired Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, and that was another part of the risk. They hired Robert Downey Jr., who had been going through a rough patch.
A rough decade, I'd call it.
But that was around the time when he was like, all right, no, I'm getting back on track.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that he was able to get his life back together, because I love that man.
He single-handedly saved. I mean, when you think about it too, he did. I shouldn't say he saved. What he did though is he propelled Disney in terms of like what I thought of.
Disney didn't even own them at that point.
Exactly right. When I thought of Disney as a kid, I didn't grow up with the relationship to the princess movies or any other animated movies for that matter. I liked Pixar. And that was a company Disney bought. That's not like their own original inception.
Yeah.
And to me, Disney was like, they were just a thing. I had no idea. I didn't know they're a mega media company from like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The fact that Robert Downey Jr. himself, with Iron Man being so huge, propelled the sale of them like, okay, this is so big, we need to buy this.
Yeah.
And then that inspired them buying Star Wars. And now they own Fox. Like, Disney.
Maybe that hasn't gone through yet.
What I've heard is that it did.
Did it?
Yes.
I have to look into that because I know it was under investigation.
Yes, for monopoly reasons. Yeah. But what they did is they only bought the entertainment wing of Fox. Right. They didn't buy the news wing of Fox. Mm-hmm. So at least purported. But that worries me for many reasons, not just for capitalism reasons and for comic book reasons, because I want Deadpool to exist. Yeah. I thought Logan was one of the best movies I saw last year.
Going was phenomenal.
And I don't know if that exists if Disney owns that property.
Hopefully they're going to rope them in. So, but yeah. The Iron Man in 2008, a lot of people forget, though, Dark Knight also came out in 2008. So those are the two movies, arguably, that have shaped the modern era of comic book movies.
Yeah. I would say Spider... So, I want to get into this with you real quick. Because I wanted to ask you this before we got into all this. What's your favorite movie adaptation from a comic? And I need to get one. But I'll give you a little bit of time to think about that. Because I also think that it's important to note, I think the best 3 comic book movies I've ever seen were all before 2010. I think it's Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight, Iron Man 1. But maybe it's because I was a kid and it just transformed the way I thought about what comic book movies could be.
Right.
But those, they've been my favorite.
If I have to say, do you want the best or my favorite?
We'll do one of each. Your favorite and what you think the best adaptation is.
The best comic book movie or adaptation?
Oh, jeez. The best comic book movie.
The best comic book movie
Yeah.
is, without a doubt, The Dark Knight.
You are correct.
Hands down. Hands down, that is the best comic book movie ever.
Right.
Christopher Nolan was a genius putting that movie together. And the acting in general in that movie was just off the charts. And then throw Heath Ledger into that.
Right.
Just a standout film.
Yeah.
My favorite comic book movie, though, I think it's Black Panther.
That's a good point. Maybe that's in there.
Absolutely love that movie, and I think that gets it. Because usually I'm putting out a Batman movie as my favorite, but Black Panther, I think Black Panther gets it.
I think Black Panther also might take Iron Man 1's spot on my top 3. I really do, because my problem with Marvel movies, and especially the MCU, and I've said this a few times in the pod, they don't have a Joker like villain.
Yeah.
They've tried to prop Loki up in the MCU to be that.
Loki's not a villain
at this
point.
He's got 4 movies.
Yeah.
They've got 4 movies to explore that character. And agreed, especially with Thor Ragnarok, excuse me.
Yeah.
He's not a villain. He's
not
just
at all.
He's more comic relief at this point than he's a villain.
Seriously.
And when you look at how good Killmonger was.
Yeah. Just off the charts. I mean, that was one of the greatest performances in a movie since Heath Ledger's Joker.
I would like to see him be up for awards content. I think Black Panther is one of the best movies of the year, without a doubt. If not the best movie I've seen all year. And should absolutely be in consideration for, Best Picture.
Oh, it definitely should.
It should.
I absolutely agree. I mean, if not, they're not going to put it up for Best Picture, but it should definitely get some kind of accolade, some award.
Award buzz kind of thing, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's my favorite comic book movie. Mm-hmm. I think Dark Knight is the best comic book movie, though.
Right. Those are two totally respectable answers. I would say that's about it for today in terms of the interview. I have one last question for you.
Yep.
Something I ask everybody. It's where are you from and where are you going?
Where am I from geographically?
It's whatever you make of it.
Well, I mean, I've been excelling in school. I've been just working hard in terms of where I want my career to go. I've been exploring writing and comic books and films, and I've got a lot under my belt. There's a lot that I want to do, and in the future, I think I'll be hopefully making movies, writing comic books, drawing comic books, making TV shows, just doing whatever I feel like doing,
Yeah.
That's the plan. And in the more immediate future, though, I've got, like I said, I'm producing 2 shows. One show hasn't aired yet, though. That's why ETV only has 2 shows at the moment. But we're in production on a 3rd show, and it's a single cam sitcom style show, so it's more in the vein of film, giving me some practice with that shooting style.
Is that going to be on Channel 18 or the closed circuit?
Oh yeah, it'll be on campus cable. It'll be on our YouTube channel,
which is
ETV at EMU, and
Facebook as well, right?
Facebook as well, and we've got Twitter. I think on Twitter we're ETV, and we also have an Instagram, which is, I believe, ETV at EMU as well.
Well, all right. I just want to thank you for joining me today, man. It's been a pleasure.
Man, thank you for having me. I had fun.
And I hope to have you on again.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was my conversation with Justin. Very, very knowledgeable guy when it comes to comic books, as you could tell. I hope to have him on for an Avengers Infinity War talk. We're going to be discussing that a lot on this podcast. Something that is, that big and pop culturally, known and iconic has to be discussed. So for anybody who's keeping track, yes, this was not actually a 30-minute episode, but who cares, It's my show. I'll do what I want. So long, world.